Story 1. Got cheated on in my 20-year marriage and divorced. Then dated a wonderful woman for about 8 months until she said she was not ready to be in a relationship. I am realizing I am not ready to trust anyone with my feelings again. I am 45 with 3 children and keeping them as the focus of my life. Dating feels like too much effort. I did a lot of work on myself and my mental health, so I am just enjoying my own company now. Story 2. I have a hard time just being okay normally. I am working on anxiety and counseling. I am hypersensitive, so I get overwhelmed easily and absorb others' energy. I know right now I am not going to be a good partner until I feel more balanced. Story 3. I have no luck on dating applications and too much anxiety to approach a woman in public. Unless a woman approaches me, I have nothing. Story 4. I gave up. I have not managed to date since my 20s, nearly 20 years ago. I think it is pretty much a done thing at this point. I believe I am just one of those people who are not supposed to be with anyone. Story 5. I am an average-looking person who is not particularly wealthy, and I have rejection anxiety. Others do not approach me, and I struggle to approach them. Story 6. A lack of confidence and a surplus of unpleasant people in the world is a potent combination that keeps me from leaving my house. Also, everything is very expensive. Story 7. I feel like the kind of person I am comfortable being and want to be, and the kind of person who would be successful in dating probably do not overlap much, if at all. Nor do I have any interest in being judged for what I like, what I think, and who I am. If I fall into a relationship one day, I will gladly pursue it. But I have little interest in actively pursuing one at this point. Story 8. Dating applications have actively diminished chronic users' ability to experience empathy. 15 to 20 years ago, you would bump into someone in a zero-pressure environment, hit it off with them, exchange information, and maybe a relationship would develop from that, maybe not. Best case, you might get a long-term relationship. Worst case, you just met an awesome person who you enjoy being around. Now, before you even know how a person laughs, you can instantly write them off as a not option, based solely on a handful of photos and a brief description about them on a dating application. These applications provide a sense of instant gratification. A whole human is reduced to a single binary decision on whether or not you would eventually like to have a physical relationship with them. It is honestly revolting. No wonder so many people are disillusioned with dating. I would be too if I had to treat people I do not even know like that. 15 to 20 years ago, everyone you swiped away in 5 seconds might be people you actually really like if you just stumbled into them. You might actually like the way they talk, the way they carry themselves, the way they talk to you, the jokes they tell, and so on. You might think, hey, I kind of like this person, we should go on a date. All that organic nature of socializing and developing interest does not even exist on dating applications. Instead, you are forced into arranging an awkward meetup with someone you would not even want knowing where you live, pretending you did not select each other solely because you are both attractive enough for one another's preferences, and hoping you actually like each other in the process. No wonder people hate dating. Dating applications do not want you to think of the people you see as people. They want you to see them as options, like applying for a job. Disgusting. These applications are so insidious that they rank and score everyone secretly. It is like a game. They do this by design. They are meant to trick people into constantly fear-mongering themselves, creating false senses of fear of missing out, and want you to keep questioning your value and worth. They make you think, this person is cool and all, but someone else might be better. I do not want to settle, right? They want you to keep coming back and swiping. They do not want you to develop an actual meaningful connection with someone. They do not make money if you do. Furthermore, it is easier for a person to remove themselves emotionally from things they do or people they engage with when it is online. Ghosting, being generally mean and abrasive, and so on are all easier pills to swallow when someone who is not looks matched to you tries to say hello. You do not know each other. This person will never see you. You have no obligation to be kind to them. These factors literally make people more mean and hateful. I am positive there are people who still prefer meeting someone organically. The thing is, those people are not going to be on dating applications, and unfortunately, online dating is how a significant portion of people are expected to meet. To be honest, I think the worst possible advice anyone could give to someone seeking romance is to put them on a virtual environment filled with apathetic, miserable people. It is worthless advice. It will not get them what they are looking for. Story 9. Where is this mysterious dating pool you speak of? Besides online dating, which I have never tried based on what I have heard about it. Story 10. It seems like an expensive and tiring way to find out that nobody likes me in that way. Additionally, I do not want to become fodder for office gossip if someone finds my online dating profile. Story 11. Dating is just a complete disaster in today's world, and I am not interested in taking part in it, even if I am lonely. Story 12. I am 38 years old and do not have a stable job, so I live with my parents. Why should I bother? I would not be considered a desirable partner among people my age. Story 13. I was really sensitive, so people did not like me. Then I became colder, and people did not like that either. So I just said, I am good. Story 14. I am an introvert and have muscular dystrophy. I have accepted that I will live in loneliness for my remaining years, approximately 15. Women my age, in their late 40s, want a man who has a nice smile, enjoys long walks on the beach, and likes to travel. Cannot smile easily. I can take short to moderate walks on flat surfaces. I love to travel but cannot carry heavy luggage or do physically strenuous activities. No one wants damaged goods. Story 15. At 37, I am someone I have put a lot of work into, and only recently, I actually like being. That person is not interested in jumping through the necessary hoops and games for the slim chance the date turns into a real relationship. I am not perfect. My life is not perfect, but it is peaceful. If you disrupt that peace, you are out. Story 16. I value independence and privacy greatly, which are incompatible with a long-term relationship. I am a very private person, and the thought of sharing my life with someone scares me. Story 17. Because I keep getting ignored without any reason. When I ask them what happened, most say, I am horrible at checking the app. I am just tired of the games. Story 18. I do not have any interest in dating until I find a compatible partner. I am fine with having free time and going to the gym. Story 19. Rather than the self-deprecation route that will no doubt dominate this thread, I have gotten pretty comfortable. By that, I do not mean that I am stuck in a rut. I genuinely enjoy my time and have a pretty good situation going for myself. Now, would all the things that come with having a partner be great? Love, companionship, comfort, shared interests, social gatherings, intimacy, someone to split the bills with, yes. In fact, they would be ideal, especially considering the cost of living crisis. However, the concerted effort of getting back out there, especially after a couple of setbacks, is a daunting one. While the general advice is always to start doing things you like, find hobbies, and you will attract like-minded people, I already do those things. I am not waiting around to take people on dates. I take myself. Movies, concerts, bars, restaurants, holidays, the whole experience. In short, it is not that I am not dating, but that I am not primarily actively pursuing dating. Story 20. You know how, as a kid, you probably only had to stick your hand on the stove once and you did not want to do it again? Well, in regards to dating, I am the person who took a few tries, a few hundred in this case, to learn that it was really all pain and no gain. But I did learn eventually. Story 21. A combination of things. Most of it is just anxiety. I am not good at picking up hints. I am avoidant despite women showing clear interest in me. Now it feels hard to get back into the game, especially with a lack of friends, or should I say good friends. This generation as a whole is socially stunted, I think, and I just do not feel worthy of being loved, I guess. Story 22. Focus on career or self-development. It is rather tough or even useless for a man to have a relationship without a clear financial roadmap. Story 23. I can't wait to meet you too, but got stood up. I can't wait to meet you too, but was unmatched or ghosted before the date. I can't wait to meet you, but keeps changing the date, can't figure out her schedule, yet still wants to text chat, and it's been a couple of weeks. They either disappear or can't find time to meet up most of the time. Story 24. I own my own place and car, have no debt, am educated, have a great job, work out to stay in shape, do my best to be a good person, have a healthy social life with friends and family, and take my hygiene seriously. All at the age of 35. But it is still not enough, I guess. Women just do not seem the slightest bit interested in me. So I have just accepted at this point that I am not meant for a relationship. Story 25. I am 66, retired, and for the first time in my life, I can do just about anything I want. No drama, no explaining where I have been or what I was doing. At my age, I realize all the problems that come with a relationship, ex-partners, children, debt, and all the other baggage. I would never date someone religious, ever. Story 26. I don't have my life together. As much as I would love to have a partner, I know it would not last because there are parts of my life that need improvement. The worst part is I think I dislike myself too much to change. Story 27. I just never bothered. I know what I look like. I don't go out and socialize with people. Part of the reason I took my overnight shift is so that I don't have to interact with people during the day. I don't drink. My only friends are people I play with frequently on my games. But I'm not depressed or lonely. I still have my parents. Story 28. Not worth it. Online and app dating have really ruined dating. Like truly ruined it, or at least from my experiences, they are telling me this. I used to love the whole process of dating. Now I just can't stand it. The way apps work has led to women thinking they have an endless list of men chasing them. And it has told the men it is not really worth the effort. Go and look on the Tinder subreddit. Some guys are swiping on thousands of women and getting a handful of matches, and it is going nowhere. These are just regular guys. These are not some unattractive men. I think it has turned some women into thinking they are 10s when they are average, and it has turned some men into feeling like ones even though they are also average. I think the overall effect of this is quite catastrophic in the grand scheme of things. Story 29. TLDR. I thought I was ugly this whole time, but recently I realized I might not be. I am only now becoming social and scared I cannot love. A lifetime of thinking I was hideous destroyed any confidence I had. It was only last year, at 27, that I realized this idea came from comparing myself to my brother, who is very attractive, and whom I always idolized and put on a pedestal far above where I put myself. Also compared myself to the kind of handsome he is. He is prettier and I am bullier. If I am indeed handsome, it is in a different way than he is, and it took almost my whole life to think of Burley as good-looking. I am still overweight, but people say I carry it well. On top of that, I have only now started coming out of my shell socially. Difficult experiences at home growing up led me to cope by withdrawing into solitary activities such as playing games, watching anime and wrestling, and reading. I disliked going to social gatherings. I had some friends in high school, but we mostly drifted apart, and I haven't made friends outside of school or work. My inner circle is really just my brother. Both of these things have led to almost no experience in anything romantic. My only experiences are having crushes and once asking a girl out in high school, who took time to think before saying no. So I am honestly scared because I have no idea what I am doing when it comes to friendship, much less a romantic relationship. Moreover, even after all these years, as much as I want to be in a relationship and as much as I yearn to be in love, I am genuinely scared that I am not capable of truly loving someone or that I will not be able to fall in love. And I fear that someone could love me. I have a class reunion coming up. Maybe something will change there. P.S. You reading this, yes, you are not as ugly as you think. Do not beat yourself up for not being attractive in one specific way. Story 30. Relationships are now optional. People forget how recent this is. Your parents had a choice who to be in a relationship with, but to live any sort of healthy, normal life you had to be in one. Millennials are the first generation with a true choice. Seriously, think about it. Consider how much time the internet saves you in a week. Needed to adjust my retirement contributions. I did some research online and changed it via an app. For my parents, that would have been an afternoon in the library and a lunch hour on the phone with a representative at best. At worst, going to a physical office and waiting to meet with someone. Needed to buy some sneakers. I found what I wanted online and ordered via an app while on the toilet. My parents would have spent at least 2 to 3 hours in the mall plus 30 minutes of travel each way. That's half an afternoon. The more price-sensitive you are, the longer this takes, since comparison shopping is difficult in real life bouncing around town. I can check the manufacturer's suggested retail price and what stores are selling them for in seconds. Needed to book a trip. I did it via phone while waiting for a train. My parents would have had to visit a travel agent, get information, spend time on the phone, and so on hours. My dishwasher needs replacement soon. I did some research online for what I want to do for replacement. My parents would have spent time at the library looking at resources like consumer reports, then gone to a few stores to get information and pricing. This would have been a few afternoons' work, which I did in an hour. This is all in just the last few days. My parents couldn't do this alone. It would be a full-time job, and these are just some one-off tasks. Marriage makes it possible to divide labor. This is why the movie stereotype of a single guy is always a fat slob with a beater car or a wealthy nerd in an empty house. Because that's the reality. You can't have it all when you have to do it all manually. I did most of this from my phone while doing other things. Relationships are a choice now, and that's just the necessities. You also have some other perks of not being in a relationship. Freedom to do what you want with whom you want and nobody to answer to. The only big perk of a relationship is splitting rent. Story 31. Quality has dropped significantly. There are too many delusional people with no grip on reality. Most seem trapped in a social media illusion, where life is all about luxury, effortless success, picture-perfect couples laughing in fancy restaurants or lounging at high-end resorts. I am honestly tired of it. To some extent, it feels like almost everyone is playing that game. I have tried everything. I significantly lowered my standards, dated single mothers, older women, younger women, and people from every background. Rich, poor, middle class, unemployed, and students. Maybe I am the problem. If so, I think it is better for me to step away from the dating scene altogether. Story 32. I am disabled, poor, and have more mental health issues than most school shooters. I know what I look like, and I am not desired, so why bother? In my youth, I dated a bit. The first 2 girlfriends cheated on me, and the third, who was a saint, I drove away because I preferred drinking at the time. I am sober now. I am not the kind of person who is good at relationships. I do feel lonely, and it would have been nice to have someone to share life with, but it just was not in the cards. I have no advice other than to try not to be unkind to each other. Story 33. The time has passed when I cared to get married. I have already dated, but it did not work out. Now, I no longer really feel that I need a woman in my life. Maybe if I meet the one, I will reconsider. However, I am no longer actively looking because I am content being single at this point. Story 34. I swipe left every time the profile says, I am not into games, or something to that effect. I know they are referring to different games, but I am a nerd looking for a player too here, and some originality. Story 35. The pills for an enlarged prostate are basically chemical castration. But hey, I can urinate again. However, I do not want to explain that to anyone in person. I am too old to be trying to build a life with anyone. Casual hookups are out and long-term relationships are out. Why date again? Story 36. 1. Working on myself. 2. Working on my health and managing sudden health issues. 3. Saving as much money as possible due to fear of economic hardship. 4. I am middle-aged and have roommates, unlike most women in my area. 5. COVID and lack of socialization due to working from home made me even more awkward. 6. Dating apps are frustrating and mostly make men feel worse about themselves. Story 37. I am just tired of having to connect with another woman, care about her, and play the social game of back and forth. It is honestly exhausting. Story 38. I have watched couples I grew up with in high school. They went on to get married and have families. All of them were torn apart by infidelity. My single friends now hopelessly scroll through various forms of social media trying to capture some semblance of connection. I have a daughter who is almost 13 now. She was the result of an affair with my high school choir teacher, who was married for 10 years at the time. Somehow they are still together. Once you become disillusioned with romanticizing, You see the truth clearly. The only ones we belong to are ourselves. Story 39. After a long day of work, I just want peace. It's a lonely path not having a life partner. But my hair isn't gray from having screaming children and a wife complaining at me, like I usually see happening to my married friends and family. It's just me, myself, and I, so I don't feel guilt over wanting to end my life. I also don't feel pressured to stay alive and provide. Yes, there is a better way to view life in general. But let's be honest, that is not the view most of us live by anyway. Story 40. I'm comfortable being alone again, and I think I'm enjoying it way too much. Not having to worry about someone else's schedule, family, or friends, and being able to do what I want without problems is really nice. The trouble is, I'm conflicted about being single. I can't tell if it's just wanting to meet social expectations or if I actually want to meet someone again. Story 41. I'm at peace. I come home from work to peace. I spend my weekends in peace. I do whatever I want in peace. Story 42. I am 27 years old. I work the second shift and am balding. I am still obese, though I am working on it since I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes 2 weeks ago. I have lost 45 pounds in 6 months. I am a horrible kisser, bad in bed, and terrible with social situations. I am easy to gaslight and manipulate, especially as a constant people pleaser who hates confrontation. I still live with my parents. I would not date myself either. Story 43. Focusing on my career and passion. I have so much to do and so much I want to do, and I do not have time for anything else at the moment. Combine that with being an absolute introvert and not interested in going out. Story 44. I don't care anymore. The idea of a committed relationship sounds nice, but I don't have enough interest in it to go out and try to make it happen. Reading signals, flirting, and trying to figure out if there is any interest there is all very unpleasant to me. Not to mention the early stages of a relationship when you are trying to gauge each other's intentions. It is awful. Besides, I am pretty happy with my quiet single life. When you don't have a romantic relationship, the potential for relationship-derived drama and stress is literally zero. I get to spend my free time however I want. Just today, I spent a couple of hours finishing a big book I had been reading. Then I went out and bought some more books and a big stack of records. Afterwards, I stopped for a couple of beers on my way home. The whole day had the logistical planning of a total whim, and I went about it entirely at my own pace without someone harping at me and turning the day into a whole production. Story 45. Dating requires effort. Always grooming, looking your best, and presenting yourself well. Sometimes being alone and focusing on your own goals is better than having to accommodate someone else's attachments and desires. Story 46. Because all I have experienced from dating applications are either women interested only in sex, women who fall for me but I do not feel the same, women I fall for who do not feel the same. Therefore, I would rather avoid hurting others' feelings or having my own feelings hurt. It feels like a waste of time when I could be doing something more productive with a predictable outcome of success. Story 47. I found my own peace and happiness by myself, and am not eager to put that at risk after a difficult divorce. Additionally, my child is my main focus right now, and dating is not a priority for me. Story 48. Been there, done that. I am financially stable and living comfortably. I have everything I want and can do everything I want. When I was married, I cherished every moment she left and I was alone. Now I do that full time. When I desire company, I have a friend with benefits situation. So I am good. Story 49. Not my choice. I asked out 11 girls since the start of the year. All said no. I am not kidding. I legitimately asked out another girl tonight while we were texting, and she just said no. I am shooting my shot, but the ball is not in my court. I am tired. Story 50. Working on getting my own place, and most importantly, I am healing and working on myself because I messed up my last situation since I was not ready to get involved with anyone yet. Story 51. In my let's just delete the applications phase. I come back every few months, same old thing. Same people. If you get lucky and match with someone seemingly normal with their life together, you get ghosted or ignored. If you are lucky enough to actually talk to them, they avoid making plans and are just looking for pen pals for whatever reason. If you go out, it is a gamble whether they talk to you again despite giving no clear indication that they are not interested. It feels like I have better chances walking my dog to meet someone. Story 52. I do not know how to succeed in getting dates. No one I have talked to on dating applications has wanted to go out, so the conversations just fizzle out. The one person who asked if I wanted to go on a date stood me up. I am still figuring out what direction I want to take with life. Story 53. Not sure how to do it. Divorced, living with parents, trying to raise 3 kids, working a dead-end job that barely pays enough to cover car and grocery payments. I have practically no free time between kids and work, and I have always been very introverted, so none of my hobbies make it easy to meet people. Dating sites are filled with bots from what I have seen online. More and more, it seems I will have to be comfortable being single forever. I had my chance and it fell apart, so unlike her, I don't get a second chance. I don't even know how to approach women anymore. I'm rarely in any setting conducive to meeting women. I'm either in a business setting and they are at work, not ideal, or on the job myself. It is not professional to approach women while working, as it could get me fired if someone complains, or I am at home. I really can't go out and do things related to my hobbies because I would need to bring my kids. They are good kids but all really young, and managing all 3 of them just for a Walmart run is a Herculean ordeal, let alone trying to take them with me to a convention, concert, or gardening expo. Doing anything solo with 3 kids as young as mine, 6 years old and under, is very difficult. Summary. No confidence, no opportunity, no free time, no money, no charm. Story 54. I genuinely couldn't find anyone who is interesting to me. I have been on dates with great girls personality-wise, but in the end, I never felt any real attraction. I can't tell if I have an emotional block or not. Story 55. Honestly, I really enjoy the peace and freedom I get from being single. I do not have to explain myself to anyone. I can do whatever I want and do not have to get approval to do it. I do not have to deal with someone's drama and baggage. At this point, marriage is a financial and emotional risk that I do not care to take. I am not opposed to a relationship, but I am not going to chase it because why make my life harder to reach a milestone that nearly half of people end up regretting? Story 56. Women can be challenging to deal with. I am retired. I just want to walk my dogs, play video games, raise my koi in my pond, and relax a little. Story 57. I like girls who are nice to people. Finding a cute one that meets that criteria and is not already married is shockingly rare. There may be a million reasons women are bitter in life, but they never seem to get over it once they are. Every so often I meet someone who makes me second guess, but it is uncommon. Story 58. I am sure this will be taken the wrong way, but in 2025, I want a partnership. A true partnership. I do not want to pay all of someone else's bills. I do not want to work 40 to 50 hours a week while someone is a stay-at-home spouse, whether there are children or not. I do not want to be the one responsible for retirement savings for both of us. Everything is astronomically more expensive, and wages have not kept up. I do not think traditional gender or household roles work in 2025 unless one person is making over $200,000 or you live in a remote area with a middle-of-the-line remote job. Story 59. Expectations are too high for men. It is hard to find someone who values family and being humble and grateful for what we have. Life is tough these days. Story 60. Have you asked the dating subreddits yet? Good-looking guys who would be a catch are actively trying and struggling. Dating is a complete mess these days. The world is a difficult place right now. Story 61. Dating is a waste of time. 60% of my friends' relationships have failed, and 100% of mine have failed. Would you go skydiving if they told you that 100% of the parachutes do not work? 60%? How about only 25%? Small number, right? Yes, forget that. Story 62. I have never had any interest in it, so I never started doing it. I imagine many other aromantic asexual people are like this. Story 63. I have a genetic disease that means I will need increasingly more care as I get older. I cannot put that on anyone else. I would die if my partner left me because of the disease, even though I would understand it. I also cannot have children because I refuse to pass it on. That is the main reason. Story 64. I have had 2 long-term relationships that did not work out. I am now in my late 30s and have very high standards for what is available. My past experiences also make me think I might never be in a long-term relationship again, as they just are not worth it. I am currently greatly enjoying the freedom of being single. Story 65. Relationships have always been difficult for me. They require a lot of effort and I feel like I don't get much in return. Also, I am not a very desirable person, so I can either go out of my way to try to be someone I am not, someone who women want to be with, or I can just be myself and be single. I choose the latter. Story 66. Well, I discovered after being in relationships practically my whole adult life that once they get over the shock of being alone, it is actually very good and massively superior to being in a relationship. Put it this way, the joy you feel when your partner is happy with you is the baseline state for being happily single and not dating or looking to date. I have been trying to imagine a good relationship, but just the act of bringing a person and their state to mind is far too intrusive for anything it could be worth. Maybe I will soften eventually. Story 67. I am 32, and it is really difficult to get a date these days. You either use an app or feel uncomfortable approaching women in public. Story 68. Dating is a way for girls to get free dinners and something to gossip about with their friends. I am good on that. Story 69. I am a morbidly obese, 29-year-old virgin with mental health issues, poor hygiene, and social isolation. Why even try until I have my problems solved? And God knows how long that will take. Story 70. I am not single now, but I was for a very long time. When I was single, I had given up on dating. Dating applications made it extremely frustrating and expensive to look for a partner. The cost of dates took a toll since they weren't leading anywhere, and it is expected for the man to pay. I thought about meeting and approaching women in person instead, but I saw online a lot of negativity toward men hitting on women, and I did not want to come off as creepy to people who were not initially attracted to me. So I gave up and decided to stay single. Luckily, my girlfriend made the first move and the rest is history. I am happy I found the woman of my dreams and have been in love every day without missing a beat. My advice to women who are actively interested in dating and finding a partner is to shoot your shot too. Story 71. I have never felt the need to have a girlfriend. I have never been very good at intimacy either. If I happen to meet someone, that is fine, but I am okay with doing my own thing. In a way, things are less complicated that way. Story 72. A huge issue I deal with is girls giving me their number but never responding. I have not been in a relationship in 5 years, but I am constantly trying. Most of my friends are girls, which shows I am not repulsive to women. The reason I am not in a relationship with any of my friends is that I either do not want to be or cannot be, as they are already in a relationship or are lesbian. I think I just have really bad luck, combined with the fact that girls constantly deal with terrible guys, which makes them very suspicious whenever they meet a new one, even if he is okay himself. Story 73. No one is exciting or interesting. I am tired of trying. I am doing well by myself and I am happy these days. Story 74. I like being single. No worries, just gaming or doing whatever I want after work. No stress, no one else to consider. Story 75. I am in the process of recovering from a tough breakup that left me emotionally damaged. I want to start dating and find a romantic partner eventually, but I am certain that I need to heal and work on some of my shortcomings before opening myself emotionally again. Story 76. Not saying that it actually is, but it does feel like the end of the world. Hopelessness and despair have taken the place of the dreams I once pretended to believe in. Being part of the family that does exist takes precedence over the imaginary ones I wished for, as I wait to slowly die. Story 77. The amount of energy and time required to make the lifestyle changes needed to meet women is too burdensome. With a full-time job and hobbies, it is not realistic to have time for dating. Story 78. I am 38, turning 39 in about 3 weeks. The good ones are gone. Online dating is full of women who put in their profiles phrases like, just ask me, find out, or don't be boring, without writing anything about their goals or what they want. If I get a match, it's short answers or ghosting with absolutely no interest in building something. I tried in-person meetings with blind dates. It was a nice evening, but the ladies were more interested in being interested than in finding someone. The arrogant ones I keep out, as I still hope they are not the norm. The reality is, I wanted a family, but I am close to 40 and have nothing to show relationship-wise. I know this is not the women's fault, as I have problems warming up to new people. But I am at a point in my life where I struggle to see the value in finding a mate. I don't want to be a dad at 45. That would not be fair to the children. And if kids are out of the picture, I don't see the added value of a relationship anymore. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.